show we are convened. In a matter of property seized for forfeiture from intersection of county roads M50 and D36 in Sac County. Case number SPCV 019567. State has filed an interim forfeiture complaint Benjamin Smith, Sac County Attorney, appears on behalf of the state. Attorney Joe Schulte appears with his client Pryor. Smith.
Your Honor, I'm not planning to have an opening statement or remark. I don't know about Mr. Pryor, but
Do you have any opening statement? Okay.
Is this-
Call your first witness, Mr. Smith.
thank you, Your Honor. At this time, the state would call Sac City Police Officer Brian Menzer.
Swear or affirm to tell the truth, whole truth, nothing but the truth.
I do.
May be seated.
Officer Menzer, where are you employed?
City of Sac City.
And for the record, could you spell your first and last name?
Sure. Brian, B-R-I-A-N. Last name Menzer, M-E-N-T-Z-E-R.
And Officer Menzer, how long have you been with the Sac City Police Department?
Since September of 2000.
Briefly go through your post-high school education.
It was 3 years at a liberal arts school, and then when I was hired here, I went through the Iowa Law Enforcement Academy in Johnston, Iowa. Graduated from there, and continued education every year thereafter for law enforcement.
I'm going to turn your attention to September 20th, 2014. On that day, were you working in your capacity as a peace officer with Sac City?
I was.
And did you have occasion to stop defendant's vehicle?
Yes, I did.
And do you recall what kind of vehicle it was?
It was a white 1999 Chevrolet Blazer.
And how did you come to stop the vehicle?
There was a application for a search warrant, and that search warrant was granted by a magistrate.
And you say search warrant, was that for the vehicle?
It was for Pryor's vehicle and his residence in Sac City.
Do you recall the location of whereabouts you stopped Mr. Pryor?
It was on M50 at the intersection of D36, both county roads.
Is that in Sac County, Iowa?
Yes, it is.
After you stopped Mr. Pryor, did you speak with him?
Yes, I did.
And what was the nature of your communication with him?
After the stop, myself and the detective ran the case from the Storm Lake Police Department approached the vehicle, excuse me, and told the defendant why he was stopped.
And what did you say to the defendant?
What did I say?
Yes.
Just why he was stopped, that there was a search warrant for the vehicle and his residence.
How did you come to find defendant's vehicle at that particular time to stop?
Prior to that, Silver Lake Police Department applied for a search warrant to place a GPS global positioning system on that vehicle. It was the day before, September 19th. Myself and Detective Lincade watched the activities of that vehicle. And then also on September 20th.
Just prior to your stop of Mr. Pryor's vehicle, where did that GPS system indicate Mr. Pryor was or his vehicle was located?
On September 20th, prior to the stop, it left a residence in Nemaha where it had been for approximately 5 minutes.
And prior to Mr. Pryor's stop in Nemaha, specifically the day before, where did the GPS tracking system tell you where defendant's car, Mr. Pryor's car was?
On September 19th, when we were watching it, it was sometime, if I recall right, after 7:30 p.m. The vehicle was stopped at a rural residence in Ida County. We watched it for a while, and I don't know the approximate length of time that we watched it on GPS, that it was stopped. It left that residence and went southbound and ultimately stopped in Omaha for approximately 45 minutes, and then it turned around and came back north and then stopped at, well, I believe it was in Harlan. It circled around and got back on the road and went to the rural residence in Ida County where we initially observed it, and it stopped there. And we watched it for about 3 hours that night. And about 3 o'clock in the morning, we decided that it wasn't going to move, so we went home.
Back to the stop of Mr. Pryor's car on the 20th. Did you learn at that time whether the Blazer, the 99 Blazer that Mr. Pryor was driving, was registered to him?
Yes, it was, through a DOT computer check.
And did you ever come to learn whether Mr. Pryor had any other vehicles registered in his name?
Not to him. There was one registered to Lowell Pryor that was on the search warrant. The search warrant on the GPS.
When you approached Mr. Pryor's car following the stop, did you have a chance to observe Mr. Pryor's demeanor?
Yes, I did.
And what was your observation in that respect?
When I approached the vehicle, I knew him from prior contact. I visually observed that he was shaking. I asked him why. He said, I don't like cops. And then Detective Lincade approached the vehicle and asked him how his trip to Omaha was last night. And at that point in time, I could just see, he turned white and it's like his face dropped. That was my observation.
Did you ultimately search the Blazer?
Yes, we did.
And did you find anything of note, or anything, I guess, that was listed on your warrant in the vehicle?
Yes.
And what was that?
In the back seat, in a black backpack, there was aluminum foil, and it had 20 individual strips. And then there was 2 clear baggies of a green leafy substance, and then a cigarillos pouch that contained green leafy substance rolled in the brown paper.
May I approach, Your Honor?
Yes.
Officer Mentor, I'm handing you what's been marked States Exhibit 2 through Exhibit 8 inclusive. There are 2 States Exhibit 6s because apparently I can't count. So I'm going to identify all this 9, not only 6 and a half. Oh, is that okay? So the States Exhibits 2 through 9 inclusive.
Okay.
Officer Mentor, do you recognize States Exhibits 2 and 3 and 4?
Yes, I do.
What are they?
That is the vehicle that was registered to Brett Pryor.
Did you take these photographs?
Yes, I did.
Is this the same vehicle that you stopped on September 20 of 2014?
Yes, it is.
Is the same vehicle that had on it the GPS tracker you previously discussed?
Yes, it was.
At this time, Your Honor, the state would offer Exhibits 2, 3, and 4 into evidence.
No objection.
2, 3, and 4 received.
Officer Minister, if you could look at State's Exhibit 5 and tell me if you're familiar with that.
Yes, I am.
What is that depicting?
That is the black backpack that was found in the vehicle that Brett Pryor was driving.
And was that found contemporaneously with the stop?
Yes, it was.
Okay. And did you take this photograph?
I took the photograph, and those hands are Detective Lacade's.
And the right hand in State's Exhibit 5 is holding onto a baggie or baggies?
That is correct.
Okay. Turn your attention to Exhibit 6. Can you tell me what that is?
Those are 2 individual baggies of a green leafy substance that was found in that backpack in the back seat.
Did you ultimately send this green leafy substance depicted in State's Exhibit 6 in for testing?
Yes, I did.
And do you recall what the results of that test were?
It tested positive for marijuana.
Photographs 5 and 6 accurately and fairly represent what was observed in the photograph at the time it was taken?
Yes, it does.
State would offer exhibits 5 and 6 into evidence.
No objection. 5 and 6 are received.
After you searched Mr. Pryor's vehicle, Officer Menser, did you also search Mr. Pryor's residence?
Yes, I did.
About how long after you stopped the vehicle did you perform this search of the residence?
After the traffic stop on the vehicle, I took Mr. Pryor and his dog. We stopped at Elm House Center, dropped his dog off. Mr. Pryor was brought to the law enforcement center, and it was within 5 or 10 minutes after he was dropped off law enforcement center, so it was very shortly after the stop.
I could have you look at State's Exhibit 7 and 9.
Yes.
Can you tell me what is depicted in State's Exhibit 7?
That is a mini pocket scale.
And where did you locate this mini pocket scale?
At Brett Pryor's residence on top of the refrigerator.
In your experience as a law enforcement officer, what are mini pocket scales used for in the, if at all, in the drug trade?
They're used to weigh for resale.
And this, again, this photograph was taken the same day or shortly after you searched defendant's vehicle.
That is correct.
State's Exhibit 9, can you tell me what that is?
Well, it's hard to see, but it's the door of the refrigerator, and there was 2 bags of a blue substance located. We're not sure exactly what it was, and then there was also just one clear cylinder that had a one sheet in it.
Describe tell the court what one sheet means.
It's LSD.
And ultimately, did you send in that sheet for testing?
Yes, it was.
And what was the result of that test? And if you don't know what I'm
That one I'm not sure on. I know on the vehicle, but this one I don't recall.
This time the state would offer Exhibits 7 and 9 into evidence.
No objection. 7 and 9 are received.
Officer Menser, if you could look at State's Exhibit 8, and I believe that there are 3 pages.
Okay.
Tell me what's in State's Exhibit 8.
A photograph of the currency that was on Brett Pryor's possession at the time of the stop.
And when you say in his possession at the time of the stop, where exactly did you find it?
On his person.
At this time, the state would offer Exhibit 8 into evidence.
No objection. 8 received.
Officer Menser, did law enforcement interview defendant following his stop on the 20th of September 2014?
Yes,
Where was the interview conducted?
at the law enforcement center.
Do you recall about what time the defendant was interviewed?
Just shortly after 1 p.m. I don't know the exact time, but shortly thereafter.
Do you know whether the interview was recorded?
Yes, it was audio and visual.
And prior to coming into court today, have you had an opportunity to to review the interview?
Yes.
What, if anything, did the defendant say during the interview about his delivering narcotics in and around Sac County?
He admitted that on September 19th, when he went to Omaha, that the narcotics that he bought there, he was bringing back to sell here. He also admitted to selling in Nemaha.
And when you say admitted to selling in Nemaha, is your understanding defendant was referring to the 5-minute stop in Nemaha just prior to you stopping defendant's car?
That is correct.
Did the defendant ever characterize himself during this interview as to his level of involvement in the drug trade in and around Sac County?
He considered himself a quote-unquote big fish.
And how did you interpret that?
I interpreted that if somebody needed to purchase illegal narcotics, that he was the person that they went to.
Did the defendant say as much during the interview?
Excuse me?
Did the defendant say as much? Did the defendant state that during the interview? You recall?
He stated that he would have people come to him requesting, and then he would go to Omaha and pick it up and bring it back, and then people would be waiting for their narcotics.
Did the defendant say during the interview how or what the money found in his possession was from or was to be used for?
He had been given money to go to Omaha to buy drugs. And I don't recall positively during the interview exactly how much he received from the stop in Omaha.
Yeah, Coach Turner?
Yes.
Officer Minster, I'm handing you what I've marked as State's Exhibit 1. This is the DVD of the interview. And as you indicated earlier, that interview was video and audio recorded. Is that true?
That's correct.
At this time, Your Honor, the state would offer Exhibit 1 into evidence.
I have no objection.
Once received.
Mr. Minster, ultimately, did you charge defendant in this case?
Yes, I did.
And what did you charge him with?
Possession with intent to deliver marijuana, and possession with intent to deliver LSD, acid.
And
I believe, and then possession of drug paraphernalia from the search of the residence.
one second, Your Honor. I have no further questions.
How much longer are we going to be at this?
I'm done asking questions, Your Honor. That's my last evidence.
Mr. Schulte, do you have, how much time will we be taking?
15 minutes.
others scheduled here before noon, in addition to these two, in addition to this.
We also have a forfeiture hearing in another case scheduled for this afternoon. They were trying after that to finish this.
That would, I was wondering if we might do that, because there's a half-hour slot after that that is open.
That would cover it. That would do it.
Okay. And you say we do have that hearing this afternoon, though?
Yeah.
As of right now, yeah.
We're scheduled for what, 2 o'clock?
I thought it was 1:30.
It's scheduled for 1:30.
Okay.
But the 2 o'clock slot is open, and that's what I'm thinking. We could finish this at that time.
Yes.
That works for him.
Okay, let's do that, because I don't, I'm assuming that these other people are here. I mean, I
Yeah.
never know. Okay, we'll resume with that this afternoon then.
As reconvene.
Please.
Show we reconvene in the matter.
Property seized for forfeiture from intersection of county roads M50 and D36 in Sac County, number SPCV 019598. Mr. Smith is again present representing the state. Mr. Shelby is present with his client. Pryor. Mr. Schulte, you may cross.
Officer Menser, you mentioned in your testimony that the GPS indicated that Mr. Pryor had gone to a residence in rural Ida County and then later on stopped at the residence for the night, at the rural residence in Ida County? Is that a yes?
Correct. I mean, it first located it was in Ida County, then it left and went to Omaha, and came back to that same residence in rural Ida County.
And that's where he stopped traveling?
For that day, correct.
Do you know, or did you determine who he was seeing at that residence in Ida County?
If I recall, I believe he told us, or it was said at some point in time that it was his father's residence.
Now, the backpack, straps, baggies, the items that are depicted in State Exhibit 5 and State Exhibit 6 in particular appear to be in these pictures sitting on a seat of the vehicle. Would that be the back seat of the vehicle?
Yes, it is.
And is that where they were discovered?
Yes, it was.
Just sitting on the back seat?
The backpack was sitting on the back seat.
Where were the baggies?
The baggies were inside of the bag, the black bag.
Was there any special type of modification to this particular vehicle? Built-in hiding places or anything that was out of the ordinary, or was it just, off the showroom floor, out of the factory vehicle?
Law enforcement did not locate any hidden compartments.
So there was nothing unusual about the vehicle itself?
No.
Now, the money that was depicted, the $300 and some, where was that money found?
On Brett Pryor's person.
In a wallet?
I don't have the receipt where it lists where it was located, but
He had it on his person.
on his person, yes.
It was not with the drugs.
Not in the bag, no.
Are you aware of having any dealings with Mr. Pryor prior to this involving the use or sale of illegal substances?
I don't recall that I have.
Okay. Guess I have no further questions.
Would you direct?
No, you're.
You step down, sir. Smith, do you have any other witnesses?
No, I don't, Your Honor.
Shelby,
Yes, Your Honor.
you have any witnesses?
I will call Brett Pryor.
You swear or affirm to tell the truth, whole truth, nothing but the truth?
I do.
State your name.
Brett Pryor?
And Brett, do you own a motor vehicle?
Yes.
And it is the, let's see, it's a
1999 Ford or Chevy Blazer.
Chevy Blazer, okay. And what year again was it?
1999.
1999. And the pictures that Mr. Smith introduced this morning, they fairly show that Blazer, is that correct?
Yes.
That's your Blazer?
Yes.
What is the primary reason you have a vehicle
To get to and from work.
and other reasons?
To visit family and all that stuff.
And was the primary purpose of purchasing that vehicle the involvement in the purchase or sale of illegal substances?
No.
As far as the money that was found on your person, where did that money come from?
I had withdrawn it from my check that was automatically deposited in my account.
May I approach you, Mr. Honor?
Yes.
Then I'm handing you what's been marked as respondents or defendants exhibit A. Can you identify that document?
Yeah, it's my bank statement for
What bank is that from?
Central Bank.
How did you go about getting that bank statement?
I
Did you bring it up online or how did you do it?
I had them fax it to me actually.
Okay, so the bank faxed that to you at your request?
Yeah, it's statement at the top.
And then this is the actual statement that the bank sent you?
Yep.
And it reflects a deposit to your account on September 19th, 2014, in what amount?
$863.68.
Your Honor, I would ask that defendant's exhibit A be admitted.
No objection.
Age received.
Where does the statement indicate that deposit came from?
It's Dynamite Marketing, which was the feed mill I was working for, known as Farm Tech. That was their company name.
So that's a paycheck?
Yes.
Now, if you'll turn the page, Ken, and take a look at September 19th, 2014, what does the bank's entry on that statement show there?
That I withdrew $300.
So you deposited your paycheck on 9/19,
Yes.
and on the same day you withdrew $300?
Yes.
And was that in cash?
Yes.
And was the $300 you withdrew, the $300 that is shown on the state's exhibit? Eight.
Yes.
Are you the owner of this 1999 Chevrolet Blazer?
Yes.
What did you pay for it?
$300?
You paid $300 for the Blazer?
Yeah, I believe so.
When did you buy it?
Probably about maybe a year before this incident.
Okay. And
Approximately.
you were the owner, you have the title,
Yes.
and it was registered in your name?
Yes.
Did anyone else drive it?
No.
You testified that you were working at a telemarketing place in September?
No, the feed mill was Farm Tech.
Farm Tech, and that's where the paycheck came from.
Yes,
My point is, where is Farm Tech located?
West Side, Iowa,
And at that time, where were you living?
Sac City, Iowa.
And that's a good 26, 27 miles away.
Yeah, about a half hour.
So it was necessary for you to have that vehicle for transportation to work, is that correct?
Yes.
I have no further questions.
Mr. Pryor, you used your 99 Chevy Blazer to drive to Omaha, purchase drugs, drive back to Sac County, specifically Nemaha, and then sell some of those drugs. Is that correct?
Correct.
And you told that to officers during your interview following your arrest. Is that correct?
Correct.
You also told officers during the interview that you had sold drugs in and around Sac County on a number of occasions, correct?
I'm not sure. Correct.
Have you sold drugs in Sac County on more than one occasion?
Yes.
More than 10?
No.
When you sell these drugs in and around Sac County, you would do so by driving your car to wherever you're selling them to. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. On the 20th, you sold marijuana to somebody in Nemaha, right?
Correct.
Okay, how much did you sell that for?
I can't recall. I mean, I know it wasn't the $300 though. But, I would have to guess maybe 150. I mean, I can't recall exact amount.
Okay, do you recall where you put that $150?
I believe I had gotten that earlier, like before I left.
So before you left, you had that money, you were given that money by the person in Omaha to procure these drugs from somebody in Omaha, right?
Yes.
And you used your Blazer to do that, right?
Correct.
You made more than one trip to Omaha to do this, right?
Correct.
And you did so using your Blazer, right?
Or I only made one trip to Omaha. Yeah. No. Correct.
Well, that you,
Use my Blazer to do it.
okay, multiple times.
Yes.
No further questions.
I don't have further.
Please step down.
No further evidence, Your Honor.
Your Honor, I just ask that the court take judicial notice of the case which the defendant was sentenced in earlier, FECR 012649. Specifically his guilty plea and conviction.
Any argument you wish to make, Mr. Smith?
No, Your Honor, the state just asked that the court consider the memorandum of law submitted to it previously.
Mr. Shelby?
I have no further statements.
Kip? That is submitted.